Hey everyone, how's it going? This is the Bald Metal Nerd coming at you with probably the shortest part of this video series that I'm going to have. And that, of course, is the Not-So-Handyman's Guide to Finishing Your Own Basement. This is going to be we'll call it part 3 of this, where basically, if you've followed along, in the series so far, and you've done your prep work and all of that, now is the time to where you wanted to talk about or think about permits and your homeowner's insurance. Now, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring this up in this series because it's an important part of, ensuring that everything's going to be okay with the work that you're about to put all your money and effort into, right? So, I reached out to both my local government and my homeowner's insurance, and I'm going to talk about both experiences. I'm going to talk first about homeowner's insurance because that might be more similar from company to company. I don't know, but I called my homeowner's insurance company, which is Amica, right? So for anybody who has them as their provider. So I called them up and I said, hey, this is what I plan on doing in my home. It's going to create additional rooms, probably raise the value of the home sub. What do I have to do to make sure that I am 100% covered in the event of some sort of a disaster, right? And basically, they told me it's a pretty simple process. All I've got to do, basically, is download an app and then take pictures of the finished work and send it to them, right? And they'll reassess and they will basically, see if they need to up my coverage for my dwelling or not, right? That's it. That's basically it. So extremely simple process. If my rate goes up a little bit because of that, to me, that's entirely worth it because, if something were to happen that would, damage or destroy the work, I definitely want to be covered. So that's easy peasy, right? So the next thing I did, and this is going to vary a lot based on the jurisdiction in which you live. In fact, I'm going to talk about some things I found out about the jurisdiction that I live in, an adjacent one, some things like that. So anyway, I am lucky enough to where I live in a township, right? So that means I have no village, I have no city. Basically, there's no government body at the local level. There's nothing above me except the county. There's no city, so it's county, right? So I called basically the permit office, the building office for the county in which I live, right? And I told them what my work was going to be. I said, I plan on, adding some rooms to my basement. I'm going to do this by adding framing. I'm going to throw in some, electrical outlets for power, obviously, and lighting, but essentially I'm just throwing up drywall, framing, drywall, and throwing in some electricity, right? I said, I'm not doing any plumbing due to the cost. And I'm also not doing any bedrooms because if you add a bedroom, you are required to basically have an entrance, at least an emergency entrance and exit due to like fire and all that, if it's actually classified as a bedroom. All right. So I told them I'm adding no bedrooms and I'm adding no plumbing. Right. And it took, they talked to a few officials. They even talked to like the lead guy there, and they said, we got good news for you. They said, since you are not adding plumbing and you're not adding any windows, you don't need a permit, right? Any permits at all, essentially. Fantastic, right? So obviously I'm not going to get any. But now the only reason I even called the county office is I previously did try to do some research on their website about, what I needed permits for, what I didn't need permits for, right? And on the website, like when you look at the building permits, it almost looks like you're building an entirely new structure. Like if I wanted to build a house on a piece of land. Not looking to do that. Anything new. And I'm also not looking to, extend my house out. I'm not looking to do a room addition, the traditional way, like, above grade, right? This is all in the basement. And I told them what my plans were, and they said, no permit needed. Now, I did happen to see, for one of the cities in the county in which I live, they actually had their permit things on their website. And since I don't live in this city, it doesn't apply to me, thankfully, right? Because if you live in the city, basically you have certain requirements for doing rooms. Like you have to have like a minimum of 7-foot ceilings. And there's a few other things that you absolutely have to abide by if you're going to do this. Right? But since I don't live and you would need permits in this city. But since I live in a township, in a county, because I told them exactly where I lived. They said, you do not need permits. So, are permits 100% necessary? That's up to you. If you don't get a permit and you actually need one, there can be problems down the road. Biggest one that I would worry about is if you live in a jurisdiction where permits are required and you don't get one, your homeowner's insurance might, like, let's say, you have a fire or flood or whatever a few years after you do it, they could potentially reject your claim, right? And you could be out, the money and effort you spent. Like, if something happens and it's not permitted and you're required to get a permit, they may not cover you, right? That's a big potential issue. Also, it can cause problems when you eventually go to sell the home, right? So there are issues. Now, are they great and gigantic? Will you go to jail if you? No, no, no. They are inconveniences, but they're big enough inconveniences where I think it would be worth it to you if you live in a place that requires permits. Just go ahead and get a permit. It will add some complexity and cost, but it'll be a lot less pain to do that than to stuff. You might be able to do it and never have any negative consequences at all. But if there's the but it could severely bite you in the butt further on down the line as well. So anyway, that's basically it. I hope you guys enjoyed this little talk about permits and all that. This wasn't meant to be in-depth. This is just, again, talking about my own situation. Your situation might be different. Anyway, that's pretty much it. As always, live long and prosper. Keep on rocking. I'll see you guys pretty soon.